Warm welcome, everybody. Please get settled for our daily practice. You can sit or you can lie down, whatever's comfortable. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. We've been doing this session pretty much every day. Oh, I should just say that for some of you might log off early, that tomorrow the link will be different because it's new moon. So this link will not be valid. You can either watch it on YouTube or I'm going to put the link in the chat. I think it's, let me just double check. I think it's bit.ly/blissmoon. Double check that's the correct one. Because on new moon and full moon, we use a different link. So just that you're aware of that. And if you're not sure of the link, you can always go and just watch it live on YouTube. Yeah, that's the correct link. Yeah, that is correct, Patty. Thanks. Good. So let's get settled for today's practice. I'd like you to either sit or lie down. This is your time. So your phones can be on silent. I encourage you not to do any social media at this time. Enough of connecting with the world, time to connect with yourself. Videos can be off. And let the process of unburdening begin right away. And by unburdening, I mean whatever you've been carrying from the day, now start putting it down. I sometimes in these sessions give very specific, direct instructions. And sometimes it's more metaphorical, anecdotal, and it might even seem at some level nonsensical instructions. It's all designed to create a shift, sometimes addressed to your conscious mind, sometimes to a deeper mind. So when you come for these sessions, just know that whatever is right for you will be received, and whatever is not suitable for you will just pass by. All you've got to do is relax, be in an open and receptive state. It's all designed for your unburdening. It's all designed for your unlocking. It's all designed for you to return to your center and then even release that center. Any of us might have been on a train, Indian train, or a train in some other country. And usually when you go on a train, you have some kind of luggage with you. And there are some people in this world, very strange, but they're there. They will actually carry their luggage on their head the whole journey. What a strange thing to do. Why would you do that? But that's what they do. They'll carry their luggage on their head, the entire train journey. The second kind of person is slightly better, but not that much better. They carry the luggage on their lap. The third kind of person keeps the luggage under the seat and locks it up. And there's a very rare fourth kind of person who throws their luggage outside the train. And as you can imagine, this story has a deeper meaning. The train of life. The train represents our life, the train of life. We are the passengers in this train. And the luggage is the baggage that we carry. All the baggage from yesterday and tomorrow, how it could have been, how it should have been, how it should be right now. This is your baggage. How I should be, how you should be, how the world should be. This is your baggage. The whole world should match your idea, isn't it? That's your baggage. If only you were the god of this universe, you'd do it very differently, isn't it? That's your baggage. Anything that's in resistance to life, anything that's contracting you, constraining you, and in some cases, strangling you, suffocating you at a thought level, at an action and behavior level. All of this is your baggage. So there are some people who carry their baggage on their head, which means they're constantly preoccupied. Second kind of person puts the baggage on their lap, still heavy, but not as heavy as having it on the head. On the lap means they have, even though they still have baggage, they've decided they will not consciously say and do things that hurt others. They will be restrained, they'll be mindful, they will not say and do things that hurt others. This is a person who's carrying their luggage on their lap. So the journey is slightly more pleasant compared to the first one, who's carrying their luggage on their head, who is in a state of constant reactivity. The third kind of person carries their luggage not on their body, but keeps it under the seat, locks it up. This person has a much more pleasant train journey. But they're not completely at peace because, as we all know, especially in Indian trains, you can never sleep deeply on an Indian train. One eye is always on the luggage. Never know when someone will steal it. Always wondering. Sometimes even there are rats getting inside your luggage. So one eye remains on the luggage. So third person has developed what we call mindfulness, measure of serenity, tranquility, surrender, trust. So their life is far more pleasant. Their train journey is far more pleasant. But they're not completely out of the woods yet because they're still attached to their luggage, their baggage. But definitely a far more enjoyable journey than the one who keeps the luggage on the head or the one who keeps the luggage on the lap. And then there's this rare fourth person. They literally fling their luggage out of the train. This person can genuinely enjoy this journey of life. There's a nice phrase in English. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Not my circus, not my monkeys. From somewhere, this birth has happened. From somewhere, these situations have turned up. From somewhere, this likes and dislikes have come. From somewhere, this kind of personality is here. I don't really remember ordering any of this. It superimposed itself on me. And so if it superimposed itself on me, then I'm not going to get so hassled by it, so involved in it, so entangled in it. What tangled itself, it is the responsibility of that to untangle itself. So this is ripened wisdom. So in one sense, the journey of life can become more beautiful through ethics, through concentration, and through wisdom. Ethics is basic guidelines on let's live in a way that let's not impinge on each other and let's support each other to the extent we can. Concentration is finding a certain stability in our heart and mind. But no matter how much stability you find, it's a universe that's based on change. Everything changes. That too will change. In fact, this may seem strange to some of you, but the pain of losing a refined inner state is actually far more than the pain of an unpleasant encounter. Which is why wisdom has to ripen further. What arises will pass away. We come back to the question, who is experiencing all of this? So in this moment, irrespective of how spiritually mature you imagine you are, which by the way is usually completely off the mark, those who think of themselves quite advanced are usually not even beginning. Those who think of themselves as just beginners might be really advanced. The beginner wants to be an expert. The expert wants to be a master. And the master just wants to be a beginner again and again and again. Which is why I prefer the word shuru to guru. Shuru is a much better place to be than guru. It's not a compliment to me when someone calls me a guru. The expert's mind has few possibilities. The beginner's mind has infinite possibilities. So irrespective of how advanced or nascent you imagine you are, in this moment, I invite you to throw all the luggage, all the baggage out of the train. And don't ask how to do it. Just do it. Empty yourself. All concerns, all arguments, all resistances, all shoulds and shouldn'ts, all musts and mustn'ts. Empty yourself. This is one of my favorite pictures I saw. Somebody shared this on Facebook years back. There's a seat near the ocean. And of course, the waves keep coming in. And a little caption that says, relax. Nothing is under control. Relax. Nothing is under control. This universe has very peculiar polarities. When I first began speaking in public, I was in school. And my teacher said to me, how do you feel? You're about to speak to all these hundreds of people. I said, I feel nervous. My heart is beating faster. She said, yes, your heart is beating faster. You could interpret it as nervousness, or you could interpret it as excitement. That one statement changed everything. The same experience can be pure anxiety. The same experience can be pure excitement. It's how you see it. The same way, out of control can lead you to a panic attack, and out of control can lead you to complete bliss, complete surrender, complete samadhi. From the ego's perspective, out of control is the worst thing that'll ever happen. From wisdom's perspective, out of control means you're fully held, you're fully protected, you're fully guided. Everything is happening exactly the way it should. And when you think nothing is happening, that's when the most is happening. Because the universal life is not here to pander to your arbitrary likes and dislikes. Completely arbitrary. Completely species specific, culture specific, gender specific, age specific. It's completely arbitrary. So life is not interested in your arbitrary likes and dislikes, arbitrary preferences. Life wants to wake you up from the imagination, the dream. In fact, it's not just a dream, it's a nested dream. If you know those Russian dolls, one inside the other. So we are not just in a dream, we're in a nested dream. Dreams within dreams within dreams. So systematically, you need to puncture bubble after bubble after bubble. Roll within roll, idea within idea. And that happens every time you say, throwing all the luggage, all the baggage out of the train. Instead of I am this and I am that, and you are this and you are that, and life is this and life is that. Just let the train move on. Be one with life. If you have a life, you're in big trouble. Nisargadatta Maharaj said, if you think you were born, if you think you're going to die, you will continue to be born, you will continue to die. Because you made a fatal error. You imagined yourself to be a body, you imagined yourself to be a mind, when in reality, body and mind appear to you. You are not that. This body keeps changing by itself, irrespective of what you want and don't want. This mind keeps changing by itself, irrespective of what you want and don't want. You are that eternal witness, and actually not even that. What's it like to systematically throw out all your baggage until there's only this life, train of life, without the strain of life, train of life without the strain of life. Can you allow yourself, even for a few seconds, to experience frictionless living? How much friction you want? Where does it get you? Frictionless living. I have a strong intention strong wish, strong prayer. Anyone connected to these teachings will live more consciously, will live more gratefully. And when the time comes to shed this body and mind, that will also happen very consciously, very gratefully, very gracefully. Imagine a few spoons of water in a saucer or a shallow plate kept out in the sun. You don't even notice at what point it completely vanishes, completely evaporates, completely sublimates. In the same way, if you live in a lucid way, you will also transition in a lucid way. It's my strong intention that anyone connected to this field, this matrix of practice and learning, every single one of you, this grace gets activated within each one of you. Don't have to do anything specific, it just happens. In my experience, most of us underestimate our practice. There may be a few who overestimate it, but most of the time, people underestimate how ripe they already are. So I would recommend, don't bother trying to figure out how far you progressed. You're going to get it wrong every time. When I was in Sri Lanka, there was a very, very beautiful practicing monk who had spent many, many years alone in the forest. He's also studied the scriptures very deeply. And very beautiful monk. Many people considered him to be enlightened, but he never made such claims. In one of his books, he said, if you get enlightened, don't even announce it to yourself. Just remain in witnessing awareness. And within the next 3 to 4 years, it'll be quite clear. It's like Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a weekend with your family. So we can overestimate and we can underestimate. So I recommend don't estimate. Don't make any assertions about how far you've come along. Who's to tell? Just keep emptying. In this moment, just keep emptying yourself. Emptying yourself of what? Emptying yourself of all this baggage. Unburden. Krishnamurti had a powerful phrase. He said, total abandonment. Totally abandon all your concerns. Some of you feel you cannot operate without concerns. And I must say that is a tragic delusion. You will operate far more effectively without concerns. Far more effectively appropriately. A surgeon is not allowed to operate on someone they know, precisely because they may have a concern. They lose their objectivity. So total abandonment, total abandonment. Attending these evening sessions every single night, you're getting into a beautiful rhythm where, irrespective of what I'm sharing, untangling starts to happen, unburdening, natural inner process of resolution and dissolution. Shift from these tiresome habits of expressing and suppressing and negotiating. Expressing and suppressing and negotiating to simply being. The fact that birth has happened means that everything else will happen naturally, as and when it needs to happen. Milk teeth will fall, hair will grow in different parts, nails will grow, different hormones will be released at different times of your life. Metabolic changes in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, and so on. It'll do its thing. This body will do its thing. This mind will do its thing. Why are you taking this so personally? The wise have never been afraid of death, not attached to life. And neither is there a fear of life and a craving for death. They don't lean forward, they don't lean backward. They abide. A lot of people are contacting me very shaken up because this person has died or that person has died. And of course, it's understandable that they're shaken up. We don't want to negate or try to bypass that experience. At the same time, it's revealing how we never did find a true foundation, did we? Our foundation is still people and things and circumstances and events. We know They're not reliable. You know that they're uncertain. Well, if you're going to have an unstable, uncertain foundation, it's going to lead to these experiences of being very shaken up. There's no other way. In this moment, as you throw out all your luggage from this train of life, can you even once in your life allow yourself to taste a deeper foundation, a truer foundation, a real foundation? The foundation of simply being. Paradox of paradoxes. Surprise within the surprise. That change itself becomes a refuge. In a universe where everything is changing, the only constant is change. So we make change our refuge because change is reliable. And that which observes this change and all these changes, something that's observing all of this, aware of all of this, that's also reliable. So we make that the refuge. Without for a moment negating our very human and fragile experience. That's also a foundation. In other words, we have embraced our everythingness. We've embraced our nothingness. And we've embraced our somethingness. So may each one of us find a true foundation. Enough of building these fancy homes on quicksand. Samsara fully penetrated is nirvana. Nirvana rightly understood is samsara. Nothing's out of place. You've been given exactly the set of challenges and supporting structures, exactly what you need for your comprehensive awakening. Don't have to second guess. Don't have to splash around too much. Wherever you are, that's the right place. Take the baggage off your head, bring it to your lap, off your lap to under the seat, out of the unders, out of the seat, and out of the train, again and again and again. Empty yourself, of your notions of yourself. And yes, it's going to be disorienting. And yes, it's going to be confusing. And yes, you're going to feel 100 times you don't know what you're doing. And yes, you're still exactly on the track, exactly on the path of unbinding, unwinding, unraveling, and completely dissolving this nested dream, dreams within dreams within dreams of who you have managed to imagine yourself to be. The final teacher of Meher Baba was Sai Baba. And after many, many experiences, very profound mystical experiences, the last thing that was needed, the last nudge that was needed, the last push off the cliff into infinity that was needed. Sai Baba said from a distance he was walking towards Meher Baba. And he kept saying, Parbardigar ho, Parbardigar ho, Parbardigar ho. You are that God. You are God. You are God. You are God. And he said it with such power and force. That was the last straw that broke the camel's back. That's what broke the illusion. So when you recognize that nothing's out of place, this is all exactly part of your curriculum and my curriculum, then we come to a more graceful way of approaching life. We don't negate our human experience, but nor are we hypnotized by it, enamored by it, infatuated by it, hypnotized by it. We start unplugging from the cultural narrative, unplugging from the genetic narrative or the genetic imprints. We start unhooking from all these patterns that we've assumed to be necessary for our okayness, when the reality is you depend on nothing. Everything depends on you. You are the light of the universe. You really are the light of the universe. We imagine that the moon is reflecting the sun's light. The reality is the moon is reflecting your light. The sun is reflecting your light. There was a classroom where there was a discussion about the largest things in the world. So one child said, it's the largest thing in the world is an elephant. Someone said, no, the largest thing in the world is the blue whale. Another child said, no, the largest thing in the world is the planet. And someone said, no, the largest thing in the world is the galaxy. And one girl said, the largest thing in the world is my eye. Your eye? Teacher got very confused. How can your eye be the largest thing? She says, yes, it is the largest thing because the elephant fits in my eye. The blue whale fits in my eye. Picture of the planet, picture of the galaxy fits in my eye. And if it fits in my eye, I have to be bigger than that. My eye has to be bigger than that. Very wise child. So like this, there's going to be a profound reconfiguration of how you perceive yourself and this life and birth and sickness and old age and death. And that can happen either gracefully or it can happen very painfully. Attending sessions such as these likely to make it more graceful. Any kind of spiritual practice you do is likely to make it more graceful. And the more we are caught in the cultural narrative, then there will be a fear narrative. There'll be a sense of this and that and should and shouldn't. I invite all of you to be conscious of how much time you give to the news. I'm not saying don't listen to the news, but don't get obsessed with the news. Understand the news has its own bias. There's no newspaper in this world free from bias. There's no TV channel free from bias. Newspapers that come to our home today are used the very next day to clean up something that may have spilled on the floor. That's the value of those newspapers. That's the value of that information. Rather, if you have to read something that ennobles you. Read the words of the wise. There are those, the Buddha says, whose lives are like arrows shot in the dark. No one even knows where it went, the arrow. And then there are those like the mighty Himalayas. They can be seen from thousands of miles away. So I would like each one of you to awaken your mighty Himalayas. Not get lost in the fear narrative, not get lost in the ideas of those that don't even inspire you, actually. Their lives don't inspire you. Then why are we giving such a lot of weightage to their way of seeing things, perceiving things? I would encourage you to study teachers like Ramana Maharishi, Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, the Sagdat Maharaj, teachers like Robert Adams, Byron Katie, very solid teachers, Rupert Spira. Of course, you will have your own favorites, and that's totally fine. The point is, get a good foundation for yourself. If you're depending on something that you know to be unstable, how can you not be disappointed? So may each one of you learn the subtle but very attainable art of unburdening from the head to the lap, from the lap to below the seat, from below the seat to out of the train, out of the train, out of the train. The train of life should not become strain of life. So there is an effort worth making. This is the effort. It's actually an effort to be effortless. But in the beginning, it does feel like effort. Because the old compulsion towards doing, reacting is so strong. The hypnotic trance is so strong. But it's going to get attenuated. It's going to get weakened. It has no choice. If you've come into this field, if you're listening to teachings like this, if you've lasted this long in this meditation, you have an affinity. This is not ordinary. So you have an affinity. You can trust that affinity. That has an intelligence of its own. It's going to unravel everything and reveal the pristine, dimensionless purity, the unassailable nature of who you really are. Beautiful. Take a few deep breaths. Tomorrow we will not be using this link. We'll have a different link. It's given in the chat. Otherwise, if you're part of my Telegram group, you'll find it there as well. Otherwise, you can just watch it on YouTube. So we will meet from 10 o'clock onwards tomorrow. we'll see. We normally go for 2 hours, but tomorrow it might be a little shorter because I'm traveling. So we'll meet for the new moon practice tomorrow on that link. All right, everybody, take rest. Be well, be safe, take care of each other. I'm getting a lot of wonderful messages about how, even though it's a very difficult time, people are feeling very supported by the community. And that's what it's all about. Let's be there for each other in whatever way we can. Very nice.